What's up, Canixu Ultra crew? This is our second event, and we're totally stoked. The Tartarus Backyard Ultra. It's both a run event and a ruck event, and we're super excited. This has been an event that we believe that the Pacific Northwest needed. The event started in 2019. We had, I think, six runners and maybe two ruckers or something like that in 2019. And then in 2021, we had around 25 people, both runners and rucker combined. And then this year, we're sitting at almost 50. So super stoked. Can't wait to see you all next weekend. This is going to be your racer brief. As you all know, we are a silver ticket event. We are an affiliate with the Big Backyard. And to do this, we want to make sure that we replicate as much as we possibly can with the bigger national event. And really, it's an international event. There are going to be people from winners from prior backyard ultras in the West Coast, people who had traveled out to go and get and chase the silver ticket in other events. We've got winners of backyard ultras that already. This is going to be a really good event. I'm super stoked about it. But we also want to make sure that everybody understands what is going on prior to you showing up, because it can get a little confusing when you're in a backyard ultra for your very first time. So this particular briefing just will be a few minutes. It's going to highlight some of the main stuff that you need to worry about when you come up and you show up on Friday or Saturday morning for next weekend. So let's just dive right into this thing. So right off the bat, we want to welcome you. There's a couple of little things for highlighting a timeline, if you want to call it that, for the event. So on Friday, from 3 p.m. onward, we're going to be out at the site. We're actually going to be out there a lot earlier than that. But from 3 p.m. on, you can set up your camp. You can also do a course preview, both for the runner and the rucker course. There's dry camping only, so prepare for that. If you're bringing out RVs or things along those lines, you might want to look at bringing out generators. There is very limited power. The race headquarters will mostly be utilizing the power source that's out there. You can come pick up a packet between 4 and 5 p.m. And one thing to note, this is super important. Timelines are important. 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock is our packet pickup. We're going to be done for the evening, and then we'll swing back in come Saturday. And timelines from then on out is super important too. So we only have a half hour for packet pickup in the morning. 07 to 07:30 will be that. At 07:30 on Saturday, we are going to be doing the racer crew brief, which is just kind of a rehash of all of this. We're not going to dive into everything. If your crew has a question about something that they can or can't do, what I would advise you as a runner is to tell your crew to not do that during the next hour that you're running. And once we're through that first hour and we're through that first race, have them come to me and ask me the question, and then we can go from there. If it's a question that we need to address to the group, there is going to be a 3-minute warning, a 2-minute warning, and a 1-minute warning. At that 1-minute warning is when I'm going to be doing a kind of quote racer brief, which is going to quickly summarize things that happened, and then we kick off for the next hour. The kickoff for the race starts at 0800. What does that mean? That means as a racer, you need to be in that corral before the bell rings. We're going to send off a 3-minute warning. We're going to send off a 2-minute warning and a 1-minute warning. And at 10 seconds at the top of the hour, every single hour, I'm going to count down. Once that bell rings, if you are not in the designated corral, you're done. You're DNF'd at that point in time. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. Get off the seat, get wherever you're at, and get into the corral. If you're running and you're within 10 yards and you hear us counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you better be hustling to get into the corral. You have to be in the corral once the race starts. Okay. I cannot reiterate that enough. All right. So where are we at? in Spokane, we are going to be at Camp 7 Mile, or the 7 Mile Canyon Natural Area. A way to actually get out there, you can search the Wilbur Trailhead, or what you see circled here is somebody actually put a really cool geo mark right on the airfield called the Water Fountain. If you search the Wilbur Trail area and you click on the water fountain and you navigate to that fountain, that is actually right dead center of where we're going to be operating for all the weekend and potentially into Monday. So the way that our site is set up, there's a couple things to think about when you're actually getting prepared this week to come out. We are going to set up very differently because we do have a lot of people, and the coming and going of our route is set up the same as what we did last year, but the start finish corral area is going to be different, and it's going to be standard for both the day and the night loop. If you all remember, for some of you that have come out multiple years, we were in the woods and then we were out of the woods for the nighttime. This time we're staying in one particular location, trying to emulate as much of the main race as we possibly can. So with that said, there are 2 racer areas that you can set up in. We're all going to be oriented around the start finish corral, or the racers corral, which is right here, highlighted in that light blue gray. There's going to be a blue timing tent over by HQ. Everything highlighted in this crimson red is a racer corral or racer setup area. So inside of that area, think about a 10 by 10 area that you can carve out that will be yours. I would recommend, for those of you that are in it for the long haul, you probably want to set up as such, be able to set up in there in a 10 by 10 area. You can bring a canopy, you can bring a shade tent if you want. You can set up a wide variety of different things. I would just probably try to keep it within a 10 by 10 area. There are no cars allowed in the spot. If you have a small mini camper, you can bring it, but I would set up on the outskirts of these 2 particular areas. I would not come closer to this until, if you're around, until the runners start coming through and getting smaller and smaller and smaller, which would be probably Saturday night into Saturday or into Sunday morning. At some point, probably Sunday, if you're still in it to win it, you're going to want to readjust and get closer to the corral area and have your crew do that. So what we're asking people to do is as a runner or a rucker, if you are DNFing, we need you to vacate out of these 2 red areas as quickly as you possibly can. Camping is allowed outside of these areas. The actual airfield is pretty big. You can camp anywhere around the particular start finish area and the racer HQ. The way that this will work is we will start in the runner's corral, and the day loop will actually have you going out, running down the airfield and around a pipe at the end of the airfield, and you'll come back. When you come back through, it's super important to tell your crew that you cannot accept aid as you go through this area. This is just an area for us to get out that specific measurement that we need to make sure that the course is set up to the distance that LAS has dictated. Once you go out and back, you'll then come back through the runner's corral and you'll head down the trail and onto the trail loop. For the nighttime start, it's different. You'll start in the same racer corral and you'll head out towards the Wilbur Trailhead, and you'll be on the pathway that goes along the river. You'll tag out at a spot that's at 3.2 miles for the ruckers, or halfway of that, and then halfway for the 4.1, the racers will tag out, or the runners will tag out at that point in time and then come back. Okay, so these are really important to understand, that there are a set of standard rules that you'll have to adhere to throughout the race. This goes for both runners and ruckers. So the course is actually measured. We have a wheel that we measure out 880 feet. The runner loop for the day and night is set at 4 miles with 880 feet. That'll be measured out. The record loop is a 3.2 loop that's also been measured. And so your GPSs may read a little above it, a little below it. But you can rest assured that this is an actual 4.1 and 3.2 mile course. The starting corral, like we said before, is measured to fit the field, and it stays the same size throughout the entire race. It also stays at the same location. So we're no longer moving a couple hundred yards here and there for day and night. We're staying in the same spot. You must be in the corral at the bell, all right? For the race, there is a race that starts every hour on the hour. So everybody is essentially in first place. As long as you're in the race, you're in it to win it. It's going to start at the top of the hour. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all the way through until we have the last person standing in both the ruck side and the runner side. We're going to have a 3-minute warning. We'll have a 2-minute warning. We'll have a 1-minute warning. I'll give announcements. At the 1-minute warning, I'll start counting down 10, 9, 8, 7. During the countdown, it's okay to be sitting in your chair. But as soon as I get to 1-0 and I'm ringing the bell, you better be in that corral. As far as the loops are concerned, there is to be no aid taken when you start the actual loop for that particular hour. The only thing that you can really do as you come through or as you finish is you can use the restrooms both on the way out, on the way in, during any part of that particular course, okay? No non-competitors are allowed on the course. So no pacers, your family should be seeing you at the start, finish, or friends and people who come out to watch. But in terms of going out, we can't really help. We can't really stop the public, but we are just asking that you don't send anybody intentionally out on the course. If they wander out on the course, that's okay, but don't take any aid. Try to stay true to the course as you possibly can. There's no personal aid during the loop. So what that means is if you start and when you go out on that runway, you go around the pipe and you start your way back. Once you started the loop, there can't be anything thrown to you or anything along those lines. You have to have everything that you need to go out on that loop. So if you're on the nighttime loop and you forget your headlamp, you better stay running with somebody close by, right? Or you're just doing your thing. Don't think that you're going to be able to grab aid during the loops. You need to do the loops on yourself unaided, by yourself unaided. Each loop must be completed within the hour. There are no artificial aids, so there's nothing that you can have set up like comms, with radios or cell phones or anything along those lines. You want to stay true as you possibly can to those 4 miles or 3.2 miles. No trekking poles, anything. And we'll specifically address these artificial aids in the next slide. If you're a slower runner, or if you're a runner who the wheels are falling off or anything along those lines, make sure that you step aside for some of the faster people that are coming through. And you're going to see that as you go through this, if this is your first time, you might start out fast, or somebody might start out fast and then slow up towards the end. There's many people employing many different strategies. So respect the strategy by, if you're the slower runner, step aside, let the other runners go through. How we determine a winner is you all need to remember that you are putting a DNF on the line in this event. The winner is the last person to complete a loop. If 2 racers start out and only one goes out, meaning the race, they're in the corral, there's 2 racers, and at the start, one runner goes out, the other one says, hey, I'm done. The last runner has to complete that loop in order for them to be considered the last person standing. If 2 racers go out and one racer comes in and finishes and the next racer times out, that racer wins, okay? If 2 runners go out or 2 racers go out and no one finishes that loop in time, there are no winners. And that is how the no-win scenario comes into play, okay? All right, some other things to think about. I just want to highlight artificial aid. artificial aid for us is anything that is not natural that you're utilizing in a race. So what does that mean? Things like cooling vests, things like electric fans around you, trekking poles, radios, SMS messaging between the crews. Once you leave the racer's corral or the racer's area and you start that hour, you need to be running on your own unaided. Now, what does that mean in terms of cooling strategies? Well, you can have a buff, you can have an ice scarf, you can have things like ice, you can throw ice into your vest or whatever it is, but what we're asking you to do is not bring out something that would actually be artificial, like those, cooling packets. There's new race vests that are out there that are specifically designed for ice and gels and all of those kinds of things. We're asking you to not use that while you're out there in the hour doing your event. Okay. We're also talking about like big umbrellas and things like that for this event. We don't want you to utilize that while you're out on the course. Okay. In terms of crew size, you can bring as many people can show up as much as they want. What I would ask you to do is to try to keep your crews between 1 to 3 people. You don't really need more than that. No vehicles in the racer area. No, you can bring crews and stuff like that to help you out in that sense. You can set up that 10 by 10 area for the long haul. So people usually bring out things to cook with, their ingredients. They've got coolers, they've got things to keep their lights going throughout the night. All of that stuff is legit, but just try to keep it into a smaller area as much as you can. There can be multiple crews or one crew supporting multiple runners. So just kind of think about that too. If you're coming out, teaming up with a crew is okay. You can do that. Camping is allowed outside of the corral. So if you're planning on bringing an RV and you're planning on bringing your family out or whatever it is, we just ask that you do that outside of the racer's corral area, not the actual start finish area, but those two highlighted spots that are both on both sides of the racer corral. Think about your space as kind of that 10 by 10 foot area. You can bring out canopies, you can bring out different shade shelters or whatever it is that you have. You can crew yourself, you can do a quick cool, you can bring as much ice as you want in those areas. You can have fans going on in those areas to cool you down if that's what you need. But when it comes to going out and leaving, you should be leaving as if you're a normal runner going out on a 4-mile little leg. You shouldn't have these cooling vests, you shouldn't have fans, you shouldn't have all of this umbrellas or all these things on you. You need to go out and do that 4-mile or 3.2-mile loop unaided. Okay. That's really it in terms of the race rules. It's super simple. I think if you were to boil it down into a couple different rules, rule number 1 is you're out on that loop, you're unaided. You're utilizing everything that you have as typically as an actual runner. With your crew, keep it down to minimum size, a 10 by 10 area, roughly in that area, the racer area. The third rule is be in the runner's corral, not the racer area, but the runner's corral before that bell rings. If that bell rings and you're outside and you're just a few feet outside, that's it. You can't be in your chair, the bell rings, and then you get out of your chair and start running. You need to be in the racer's corral. All right. I'm going to be super strict about that because this is a silver ticket event. The last thing that I'll say is that the course that we have set up for you both day and night is so easy that it becomes hard. And what I would ask you to do is be thinking about and coming up with a good strategy that allows you to transition from trail to road. And some of you are going to be strong on the road, some of you are going to be stronger on the trail, and vice versa. And you just need to recognize that that's what this race is about. This race is about a super easy course that you can get onto, and you absolutely can finish this course by walking and staying very intentional in your purpose. It's just a matter of you getting up and actually doing it. Okay. So I'm super stoked. I am so excited for this event. It's one of my favorite types of formats. I follow the last person standing events. almost bi-weekly. There's an event that happens, and I love looking at the results. I love seeing how everybody performs and the strategies that are played out. I really look forward to meeting every single one of you, seeing all of you that have come back multiple years to support this event. And that's it. Can't wait to see you all on Saturday, Friday night, for some of you that are camping out there. And safe travels to everybody that is coming out. Give yourself plenty of time for travel. If you run into any travel problems or anything like that, just let us know ahead of time if you're going to be delayed coming in late Friday night or whatever it might be. We can definitely help you. And don't give up if you do run into any problems. Johann Steen, the year that I ran Big's Backyard, was having issues coming in from overseas and only was able to get into, I think, New York City or something like that, and had to drive all the way down to the site and basically hooked and crooked as best as he can to get there, got there within minutes to spare of the start finish, and became a very well-known player in the backyard field that year. So if you're getting flight delays or anything like that, your race starts, right? Like, just get to the site as best you can. Give me a call, reach out to me by email. I'll send my cell phone number inside of the racer email that you got this video. And I can't wait to see you all. We'll see you later.